Jennifer MacKay, she's a parent, and what's the health department? State your name.
MacKay's also already been sworn in, so whenever she just comes, she can start.
My name is Jennifer MacKay. I'm a parent of a student that attends Lincoln County High School, also connected with the Lincoln County Health Department. I want to thank you guys today for listening to my concern as a parent, and not only that, as a community worker and a county worker that works closely with Carrie. Our youth, especially here in Lincoln County, and I might get a little bit emotional about it because our county is a lot of times looked down because of different things, and when we have certain people that impact such people's life, to me, no amount of money, no amount of different budgets or different things like that are cut. It's to be the impact of a kid, of a child. And so children, teens at the high school, I'm in the high school a lot, I work with other organizations, they're looking for someone to listen. They're looking for someone to believe in them. They're looking for someone to take time with them. The days of Leave It to Beaver families, they're over. I say here in Lincoln County, maybe 5%, I would say, would have a Leave It to Beaver family. All you guys know that show where June stands at the little stairs and hands the lunch away. No, but instead we have teenagers that are dealing with teen pregnancy, dealing with drugs, with meth, and different things like that. And one word that I ask that you would consider in everything that I said that has already been said by others people. We can talk about how great Carrie is and everything else like that. But the word impact, the impact that Ms. Smith has on the high school, the impact that she has on the county, which also reflects the board. It's kind of like a pyramid, a domino effect. You know, it all comes down together or goes up, together. And so in consideration of asking you to, I'm not good about, numbers or crunching, but to look into every area of a budget, every little tiny thing to say, is there some way, something that we can do? Because this lady impacts so many teenagers. As it's been spoken before, 100% of participation in the teen pregnancy. Other high schools are following the model. Prom dresses to make girls to feel beautiful, to make girls feel like they're gorgeous for that night, where families can afford or parents don't care that they look good for that night. Also, the food pantry, the Panther Pesos, the program that you've done there for good behavior in the school. There is not one thing that is negative about Miss Smith as far as her job is concerned there at the high school. And like I said, money-wise, I understand all that different with the money, what is being said, but I just ask what impact somewhere within some budget, some guidelines, can we just look and say, how can we keep her? Because it would cause a very, very large void in the high school, to the students, to the county, along to the whole school system in the county.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Our final witness on your call is Ms. Smith, Carrie Smith, the social worker at the county high school.
She's already been sworn in, so.
I come here tonight to ask the board to please reconsider the termination of the social work position. I do not come here tonight for myself. I come here tonight to stand up for those students at Lincoln County High School. I'm here to advocate for them. The majority of the population that I work with are kids that are swept under the rug, or kids that are lost through the cracks. Those are some of those kids that are the hardcore discipline issues that you have. Some of those kids are homeless. Some of those kids are teen parents, whether they are a daddy or a mommy. And then they are products of teen parents. So it's a cycle. I speak for kids who they don't feel they have a voice. That's why I'm here tonight, to please beg you to not take away this position from Lincoln County High School. A lot of people have talked about the food pantry that there is there. And it has taken a couple years just for kids to come to me and say, I'm hungry. Because their pride, they have pride, but they're struggling. I feel the basic need for kids. There are a lot of homeless kids by the McKinney-Vento Act. There's a lot of different definitions. But when I have a student who comes to me and says, Carrie, my dad kicked me out. I don't have any place to go. I don't know what I'm going to do for food. I need some insurance. I've worked the system. I know what to do. I know how to help them find a home. I know how to find food. During the whole crazy winter weather we've had, my concern was, how are those kids eating? Because I know there are some kids who come to school just to have the food. I know kids right now I can think of who need the food for the weekends. I had a student who came during all that time that the school was open, the staff was there, and students weren't there. And she said, Carrie, I'm starving. We've not had food in the house for over 2 weeks. So what do? I make certain that they have a box of food that will go home with them. And then as soon as they got to come back to school on a regular basis, I made certain they had a backpack every day so that they had to stock up. What will happen to those kids if that position is not there? How are we going to meet the basic needs of these kids if a social worker is not there? Because if their basic needs are not met, they can't focus on education. If they don't know if they have clothing, or, there are a lot of kids who come to me and need shoes because the soles of their shoes are falling off. So what do? You find them shoes. I work with a lot of teen moms with the teen parenting group. It's been an amazing group that has taught kids how to be mommies and daddies. It's also taught them that education is important and you gotta stay in school. I have numbers here from when I started my position to this next class of seniors. And a lot of people like to say that they like to drop out because they're pregnant. I don't have a lot of dropouts. I have a lot of people who are graduating with honors and going to college. Like in class of 2009, when I first started, I had 5 teen moms graduate and only 1 dropped out. And then 2010, 10 moms graduated and 2 teen fathers graduated, 6 dropped out. 2011, I had 17 moms graduate and 7 drop out. 2012, I had 10 teen moms graduate and teen dads graduate and 3 dropped out. 2013, I had 17 moms graduate, 3 teen dads graduate, and 1 drop out. In the class of 2014, granted we've not graduated yet, but they are on track to graduate, and there are 10 teen moms and 4 teen dads that will graduate, and I've already had 3 drop out. And that's because of the support that I have given this program. Again, there's tons of things that I've done that help the children, but the biggest thing is, I want to fight for these kids, because if I don't, who will? I want to see every one of those students graduate and walk across that stage. And if I'm not there, or that position's not there, who will do that? So I urge you and I beg you, please, do not get rid of this position. I don't want to lose my kids. And I do not want to leave them behind. And I'm afraid that is how they will feel. Because I had a student just recently, he said, I heard a rumor. And I said, what was that rumor? And he said, I heard that you're leaving us next year. I said, honey, it was not a choice of mine. I said, I would never leave you. He said, what am I going to do next year if you're not here? I said, I don't know. I don't know. So please reconsider about the social work position. Give me a year to find funding for myself if I have to do that. I will do anything to help those kids. Please do not give up on them yet. There are so many good kids over there that have great potential. They just need extra TLC. And I want to be that person. Yep. I have another story and then I'll be done. This week I had a River Park Hospital called me. And they said, we have one of your students. And I said, okay. And I try to work with the process and try to help him out and keep him on track. Because he is a senior and he is on track to graduate. And she said, and this teacher down there said, he's been so concerned about his classes. He's freaking out. He said, and so I talked to him about who's the one person in that high school that you can talk to. And he said, Carrie Smith. I have talked to her. So all the people in that high school, he had remembered the social worker. Please don't let me let him down. Thank you.
Sandra?
I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. All right. Any members of the board, did you have any questions of
Ms. Lucas, I would like for you to explain the process of the deadline for getting out the RIF and termination letters and why it has to be done at a certain time in order to make it legal.
Okay. Again, our legislators put in code, and we have to follow the timeline for making the decisions. That we have to do this prior to March 1st every year. Well, they've changed it a couple of times. They've moved the dates on us. So when we get the budget, we have to, the preliminary budget, we have to look at what they have given us. And then I am required prior to this year, March the 1st, to make those recommendations to the board. Because if we go past that date, then I'm out of compliance in making those decisions and recommendations.
So it's true that after that time, if we see that we can do something different, you can do it, but if you don't do this now, it's too late to make that decision later. Say if Miss Andy can't make payroll and we don't do anything now, then later we can't make that decision whether she can make payroll or not.
Correct.
And just to clarify, the statute says on or before March 1st, and because March 1st falls on a Saturday, that would be on or before Monday the 3rd, but this is the last working day before that deadline, so it has to be done by.
But in the meantime, if funding became available later, you could reverse that decision or repost it or whatever. I mean,
The statute provides for a rescission of board action on these personnel if the reason for the action no longer exists. Let's say, for example, there was a grant that was funding this position. We didn't think the grant was going to be renewed, and that the grant was renewed, and that was the reason. Then the board could rescind the action. If it was before August 15th, it would be mandatory to rescind it, and if it was after that date, it would be permissive to rescind it.
I wanted to just say one thing to Mr. Tierney back there. I totally agree with you. The state got us in this mess. But I have to look too, that if we go bankrupt, the state's gonna come back in and take us over again. They've done such a horrible job with us when they had us those 12 years. It worries me that if we can't make payroll, they're gonna use that as an excuse to come back. But this is their fault. All of this is their fault.
Could I just respond to that, since you asked me to say something? Let's think out of the box. If we have dwindling enrollment and state problems, what about looking at a 3% cut of all central administration? We have a smaller school system, we have a smaller school system to manage, we have serious issues, but I think maybe we look at how we weigh, do we make the cut for the most at-risk kids, or do we look and see if there's places where, this went all the way across, and I'm sorry, I respect the people, I think you all do a fine job, but I think this is really about what kind of school system we are, and are we gonna cut for core support for the most at-risk kids in our system?
All right, we certainly understand that, Mr. Tierney, that what Ms. heard Ms. Tender say, that all these actions have to happen by today. Even if that were something the board would pursue, maybe it would have to be in the future because of the various statute requirements of employees being notified and proper, having the opportunity for hearing, and all that has to happen by today. So we understand, appreciate your comments, but that's not something we can deal with this year, but maybe in the future. Anything else, Ms. Smith?
I will go with you to the state.
You may get others with you. Anybody else, any board members have any other?
I'd like to-
Ms. Curry?
Mr. Lucas, when you made this decision, you did not make it on your own, did you consult with administrators at the high school?
Absolutely.
And you came up with the position that would least affect the education of the student?
Yes,
in
I
y'all's
always
opinion?
involve the principal, Mr. McGiffin. I meet with each principal and look at everything that is happening at their schools, what is required, for them, and then the other areas.
Jimmy, okay. Brady, I'd just like to clarify something, please. You indicated that the preliminary comp show that next year we would be over 40 positions.
Yes, that's correct.
Did you have a monetary value to that?
$1.8 million.
Okay. Now, the proposed cuts that are the proposals that Lucas has made to the board, do you have an amount of how much that would save?
Yes, we're gonna save $787,000, but we're still going to be over $1 million.
Well, that was my third
Yeah, we're
question.
still gonna be over $1 million, even with all the things that, with all of her diligent work, we're still gonna be over.
So, and where will that $1 million come from? I understand that's not going to come from state funds. Where does that come from?
No, we'll just, we're hoping on getting some extra money on our excess levy. So it just, we just have to cut and juggle and try to, fund those positions the best that we can.
Locally,
Mhm.
but a little over $1 million.
Yeah.
Assuming all these cuts happen, but
Yes.
it would still be $1 million. Okay.
We've had some letters that we were hoping would get to the board members before today, but they didn't. And I don't have enough copies for them. I just have enough copies for the board members. I don't know if I can submit those.
I have no objection.
That'd be fine.
These are from teachers at Lincoln County High School.
Okay. You have a little packet for each one of us. Okay.
Like I said, they were supposed to get here beforehand, but they just
Do
didn't.
you also want to enter those into the record or not?
I would, but I'm just, that's all the copies I have because they were supposed to get to you prior.
Well, what we might do is use Mr. Wilkerson's, he wasn't able to be here today, we'll use his as the exhibit, and I'll share, give it to him at a later date.
That packet will be exhibit 2 in their seconds. And then I have one letter from Counselor at the high school. She wasn't able to be here, so if I could read that on her behalf.
That'd be fine, yeah.
And it's from,
Okay, you're going to identify, go ahead.
sure, and it's from Brandy Sanders at Lincoln County High School. Dear board members, I would like to take a moment of your time and talk to you about the detrimental loss of the social worker position at Lincoln County High School. Even more than loss of the position, I would like to talk to you about the loss of the person that fills that position and runs numerous programs as part of her job. Carrie Smith is more than just a social worker. She's an advocate, friend, and equalizer, and works tirelessly to make the lives of Lincoln County High School students better. The programs that she runs include, but certainly are not limited to, the food pantry, Thanksgiving food boxes, Christmas food boxes, Christmas sponsorship of students, Upward Bound, Prom Project, Clothing Closet, Covering Up Lincoln County, which is a coat drive for students across Lincoln County, Teen Parenting Group, linking teen moms to agencies and emergency needs, and a liaison to countless community agencies and organizations that help students and families. Each one of these projects and responsibilities comes with a tremendous amount of planning and time. Carrie's value to Lincoln County High School is immeasurable, and without her, our students will suffer. Without Carrie, we will have students who cannot afford to buy dresses or prom tickets. We'll have teen parents with no access to resources for parenting, diapers, clothes, and formula when needed. There will be students who are hungry on the weekends and extended holidays because they don't have food. Students will not have Christmas. Upward Bound will be left without a school coordinator. I could go on and on, but I'm sure you get the idea. There is no one who could fill the void that losing Carrie Smith would cause. As a school, we simply do not have the resources or staffing to continue any of these projects and initiatives that she has begun. I urge you to reconsider the position being cut. We serve such a high-need, poverty-stricken population that we need for a social worker cannot be denied. In addition to losing the position, we can never find another Carrie Smith who loves and serves Lincoln County High School better than anyone else I could ever imagine. Our heart is with students, and if you were to talk to any of almost 900 students in our building, they can tell you that she is who she is and what she does in our school, in a school our size that is rare and should be considered invaluable. Thank you in advance for your time and consideration. Brady Sanders.
Thank you, sir. So we have various letters that have been entered into the record. Board members have copies of those, and then we will be able to read those more thoroughly here later on this evening when we deliberate. Okay.
Let me ask a question. These are all, just for purpose of the record, the letters, the package you gave each of us, the content is the same in each of the packages?
That's correct.
It's the same letter signed by 9 different students?
I don't know where it came from, I'm sorry.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because we
It's the
want to
same,
look at this.
everyone has the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's why I was saying later on, we'll have the opportunity to actually read them. Obviously, we can't do that
Right.
now, but we certainly will.
The same letter.
Okay, I'll just done. And all mine have Mr. Curry's name on them.
Yeah.
So. But we understand.
Sure.
They all have the same content. Okay, closing statements. Ms. Tender.
As you can see, by the difficult decisions that the superintendent has to make in terms of getting closer to balancing the budget for next year and not even getting to break even, she had some very difficult recommendations and decisions to make in coming forward with those recommendations. Because of funding concerns due to enrollment and other factors beyond her control and beyond your control, she has to make recommendations for reductions in staff. And as was clearly shown here tonight, there is no funding source for this particular position other than the county itself, which doesn't have enough money to fund all these positions. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of options, and it is her recommendation that the social work position be eliminated, resulting in Ms. Smith being terminated and placed on preferred recall. And should a miraculous event occur, this board will certainly have the opportunity to consider rescission of this action at a later date.
Okay, Mr. Tender.
There's no secret that Lincoln County Board of Education is in a financial deficit for the upcoming school year. There are over 40 employees under the state aid formula. However, it is nearly impossible to operate a school system effectively on the current school aid formula. In fact, I don't believe the county can do it in the whole state. You have to have employees that the state aid formula does not deem necessary but are necessary to the students in Lincoln County schools. To prove this, look no further than your own central board office. The state aid formula does not pay for a position like a county treasurer, but there's no way you can run a school system without a treasurer. There's no way you can do it. And there's other 3 to 4 positions at the county office as well that aren't a part of the state aid formula that you need to run the school system. I just hope that we've proved to you this evening that Ms. Smith is also vital to your school system like these employees are. Certainly this will be somewhat of a hardship for Ms. Smith and her family, but she'll land on her feet. She'll find another job. I just don't know that the students in Lincoln County schools will be able to say the same. I would hate to think that the RIFing of this position led to the students going hungry, students dropping out of school, and students not being successful. I would also like for you to remember the presentation that Mr. McDowell gave Tuesday night during the board meeting on behalf of Ms. Smith. He brought up some very valid points that many of you agreed with. So I thank you for your time and consideration in this hearing.
Okay, that all being said, this hearing is concluded, and the board will make its decision on this later